Hello, it's Paul Jones from B.E.G. I'm the Director for the UK and Ireland. Today I gave a talk on smart controls for building, primarily talking about the educational sector and how we have solutions for that, along with our new wellness sensor, where we are controlling the outputs of the LED lights to mimic the circadian rhythm. So what I'd like to talk about now is a little bit about B.E.G, then talk about a wireless wellness sensor, that we have now taking in the human-centric lighting, making it available, DALI system, and our classroom sensor. So a little about B.E.G first of all. Excuse me for the sales pitch, but one of the things we find in the UK market is that we're not that well recognised, but in Europe we are a leading player. We have top-notch facilities. We have production around the world. We have R&D around the world. Advantages that gives you is talk about this sort of smart technologies, talk about the interconnectivities. We are a shared world. The influence of the UK, Germany, the US is all helping together. And that's one of the strengths we think we had. Represented well in the world. We're in 16 countries. We just opened in Portugal just after Christmas. For the Portuguese market and also for South America. And we have agencies and direct coverage around the rest of the world. Brands, like most major companies, have brands, and what we want to talk about today is our LuxMat brand. Talk about our lighting. So some projects we've worked on. So Carlsberg, brewing market's changed dramatically. Carlsberg now, a lot of facilities now have all moved to offices. We provided sensors for everything. From the storerooms to the offices to the homes. Big projects around the world. Banks, we do a lot of work in bank projects. Systems, linking in this with KNX, so linking in the lighting and the HVAC systems. Co-op Bank in the UK, when opened in 2013, was the most environmentally friendly office in the world. Fairness now, I'm not quite sure what's going to happen to Co-op Bank at the moment. Hopefully the offices, hopefully the offices will be put to good use. Manchester University here, Metropolitan University, so again is a full KNX system. So, wellness sensor. A little bit of background first of all on light on human beings. There's been a lot of talk about it recently, how it affects us, the internal clock, how light copies more than just daylight. So we talk about light receiving, the light here, so all the nodes, so picking up the colors. What people realized in 2001, 2002, light has another effect on our body, on the hormone production. Make you feel good in the morning with the cortisol, picking you up, taking you down. So there's big changes in light. And that's one of the things that we find in the marketplace, that people talk about LEDs, is talking about the changing sort of the quantity of light. Where we see the market going now, the LEDs gives us the option with the quality of light. LEDs, you can start playing around with the light for the circadian rhythm. So here, sort of change the levels of light. Where this affects us in the educational market is that lighting is important, not just for what people can see, but how they feel in the classroom. So as we feel that the market's going forward, that giving people that better comfort in what they're doing. So one of the questions we had recently was that, how is this proven? There still seems to be a lack of acceptance that good lighting does affect what people do. In Germany, the federal government has done a lot of research into education and lighting. I have a pamphlet here that you can all have copies of, if you let me know. Goes through the whole lighting in classrooms and how important it is. They've done research in the school. So what the results showed that lighting, when it mimicked the circadian rhythm, gave the students better performance. So they had better reading skills, better reduction in errors, improved their overall performance. The other advantage is that with lighting, you can manage the kids a lot better. The kids come in the morning, a lot of them are hyperactive. You can tone down the lighting to reduce it. After lunchtime, pick it up. This is what's going on now. So, some of the lighting companies, Glamux in Norway. We've also done a lot of research into this area of making the light important, not just for the output, but for making it for the kids and seeing what the output you get in terms of their performance. So you've got here better concentration, less noise in the classroom. The kids are paying more attention to what is going on in the classroom. And also less sleepiness for the children. So what we find with technology today, a lot of kids are staying up all hours in their bedrooms, iPhones, iPads, whatever. They are having a strange rhythm in terms of education times getting to school. They're tired. Lighting now can start to play around with that. We also have examples, so obviously not just for schools, but offices, industries, hospitals. We talked about care homes earlier, retirement homes. Lighting has a huge effect on how people's well-being. And this is where the market is moving towards now. So how do we do it? So we have a sensor, as you'd expect, that can control it. So at the moment, as far as we are aware, this is the first sensor that can do this technology. What I'm going to do technology is you're starting to change around with the LED chipsets, changing the color output. With that, you get into the circadian rhythm. So being a German company, we like to control things a little bit. We do share the technology, yeah, but German family firms are a little bit controlling some of what we do. And in their mind at the moment, we have a dream team. So we have our sensor built in with a ballast and light fittings. These ballasts here are DALI 8 compatible. So people have DALI 8 compatible ballasts, our sensor will work with them, allow you to do those classrooms. And that's one of the things about discussion today about LEDs. And as Adrian was saying, watching the pricing going down dramatically. When you start talking about the quality of light, it will actually start pushing the pricing up a little bit. And also pushing up the energy consumption a bit. Because you're changing that quality of light. It's changing that perception. So at the moment, most people in the market perception is prices goes down and down and down. Lamps, sensors, everything. What we're talking about here is getting that quality of light. You moved on from that energy, now talking about the quality of the light in the market. Also available, we have DALI systems, so you have the routers. So you have routers with built-in technology now, so you can start to play around with the ballast, change the output of the lamps, and change that on the rhythm. Teachers can change it as well. One of the things about having the sensor, you can change it mid-class. Kids are getting a bit disruptive, calm them down a bit. You want to change the classroom setup, you want to have a reading time because need to calm down a bit. You can change the lighting quite easily, give them that reading time. Big changes in the market. We have a brochure again that's in the pack you can have afterwards. The other thing we'll talk about briefly is DALI system. So why DALI? Most of you, the speakers today, have already spoken about DALI. Fairness, I didn't realize it was a Philips system. Sorry for that. Yes, I tried on it, but anyway, so why DALI? So, powered by multinational companies. There are over 120 members in the world linked into DALI. One of the things people about systems is this interoperability. I can't say the word now, sorry. Of linking in systems. That's one thing about the smart systems. With DALI, it is linkable. Yep. You have that protection of investment. DALI enables connectivity. Okay, so you've got all the networks up here, BACnet, KNX, BMS systems, also the wireless systems. DALI has the routers and gateways available for the system. DALI standard, which has been up in discussion now for the last 5 years, to my knowledge, DALI 2, we believe will come sometime this year. This V have sorted out in Germany. We think DALI 2 will happen. This protocol has been written, and that will now change the marketplace. So changing from the ballast and the lamps, you're starting adding in all the peripherals into the market. And that will give you that uniformity of standard. We were saying earlier about what are the standards. DALI 2 will give you those standards for the switches and for the sensors. We offer systems in all three. So we have standalone, which at the moment in the UK is most of what we do in classroom work. Standalone systems, standalone sensors, sorry. So a standalone sensor to us is still a smart sensor. You're still enabled to do more than just switching on, switching off. You can do the dimming. You can link the groups. You can add in the relays there, so you can do in the heating ventilation systems. We're finding all the schools that are starting to link it in. We still have that gap between the mechanical and the electrical side, but it's getting closer. A lot closer. People realizing that you're putting a system in, you're selling one system. So classrooms, even though standalone system, still have choices in what you do. Networkable. So we do networkable systems. So obviously we were saying earlier about the addressable DALI. DALI Open Protocol Network allows you to link in the systems. So again, for schools, it now makes it single room solutions. People were speaking earlier about Bluetooth. Bluetooth chipsets now make it a lot easier to give users in rooms, give teachers in classrooms that easy choice. Allows you to have that control. Still need something to control it with. So there's always that question about bringing your own technology into the systems. But the iPhone, iPads, Bluetooth connectivity allow people to give you that simple system. Things that people are used to. Room solutions, okay, on the room, multi-rooms gets a bit more complicated in terms of the wiring, but in terms of the system works, it allows you to do more. So you can have teachers in a classroom, you can have the corridor lights on at a set level. You can have the toilets lit. Yeah, you can link rooms up together on certain, 10, 15% levels. When the kids come out of class and go to the toilet, they can see the way there. It allows you to do it quite simply. That's what the system allows people to do today. And then you go all the way to the total building solution. Most interest we find in the UK market has been adding in the emergency lighting. Allow the emergency light testing to be added into the DALI system. Nice and straightforward. As I said about a building solution, working up all the floors. DALI gives people that choice. Fairness for schools, it's not so much the total building. We find most of it is for the corridors, linking them with the classrooms. So what we call a multi-room solution. One of the big things we find in the UK market is the changes to schools. Changes chores in terms of the setup, change the lighting requirements. We had all the building schools for future designs, concrete ceilings, changing where the lights were, airflows were more important than light. It made quite a challenge of having classrooms being smart, shall we say. So we had influences of daylight, we had influence of side effects, so what were side effects? So window blinds, special lighting zones, different classrooms requirements. So for example, the chemistry need to have high bright levels to working on science, different needs, the classrooms and the various applications. So we have a sensor which we call PD4 DA4G. It allows you to play around with the light levels. So you've got here window lights. So I have to excuse my settings here. Changing the brightness levels. UK classrooms, cost. We all have cost in the market, trying to keep cost effective. We have one sensor now that can adjust this. One simple sensor will do the whole classroom, but give you perceptions of quite a sophisticated, smart solution. So you have the DALI groups. So you have here dampening. So you have basically the inside by the doorway. You set it at 100% and basically simply damping down the light levels to near the window. So you're still achieving, so generally the zones in the classroom, still achieving 3 lighting levels, but you're doing it in quite an economical way. So you can do daylight influence. So side effects. So starting to see more designs using lines on the windows. Starting to pick up a little bit more. It's still mainly what we call a mainly European design, having blinds and windows, but we're starting to get that effect now on classrooms. People are starting to be more effective in the design, for dynamic offsets, trying to keep the heat in, trying to maximize the daylight. But again, with that, you then have to compensate with your lighting levels. So special lighting zones. So we have examples here where you've got basically the classroom teaching, the desks area here, and then you've got up here teaching area. Simple sensor allows you to give these both options through one simple sensor, while also taking account of the window and the lighting level. Excuse the Swiss Army knife, but one of the things we find with classrooms is that there's always a requirement that we haven't quite thought about. Adding a relay into the sensor allows us to give people more options. So whether they want to do the cutoff, so one of the savings of a DALI ballast, if you've got a sensor with a cutoff relay, you can turn the ballast off, save that standby power. Sensor picks someone up, triggers the relays on as well. So you can still be very efficient. HVAC, obviously on the second relay in there, switch on the HVAC system, do the ventilation in the classroom. Do impulse technology, tying with door gongs sometimes as well, straightforward. Alarms, talking about systems earlier, about bringing in the security side of it. Allows you to, to see if the classroom's occupied. Zone C, so we talk about, the teaching areas, but you can add push buttons in to make it, give people choice. Let's use the CDS, and also twilight switches as well. So adding the relay allows you to give one sensor, do the whole classroom. So in terms of that smart system, one sensor does it all. So we'll talk about some different needs. So we have here different needs of setup. So sometimes we find in classrooms people want to group the lighting slightly different and have these at different offsets. Whether they have children who have some impaired vision, want to have brighter lights. You want to have areas, so you've got experimental areas like in a chemistry lab and teaching area. One sensor can do that. Simple, but yet it's quite smart. So cutoffs. So again, adding the cutoffs, so we can do, excuse me, French, the relay, but decrease the power consumption and still do lighting groups. Give people the choices. One of the things to talk about here is the components. Our design about sensors is we put in all the technology into the sensor head. As I said earlier, we do the system so you can make it more complicated. But what we find in terms of a smart solution sometimes is just a sensor. A sensor gives you that smart solution. Sometimes we get, the market gets quite confused over what it wants. People think they need quite a complex solution. And really all people want to do is, here's a classroom, I want to have different lighting groups, how can I achieve it? Trying to keep that as simple as possible. So adding in everything there. So we've got the PC tool. We have an app on the phone. Allows the commissioning contractor to go around and set up easily. It is trying to get that intuitive technology in people's hands. People have the iPhone, probably in Samsung's as the new ones come out tomorrow, but people have that technology in their hands. They're used to it. Yep. So technology first, PC tool in your hand. Control is in the sensor. Power supply is in the sensor. The couplers for the switching. We still like to have big switches. We still think classrooms should have big switches for the kids. Obviously, the UK design is to having little slim switches. Maybe that'll change one day. Obviously, the sensor, and then the ballasts. The sensor can do it the whole gamut. And then linkable. Some classrooms are bigger than others. Need to have more than one sensor maybe to do the area. One of the normal complaints we receive is that kids are sitting still, lights are going out. Still the one complaint today. Got to wave my arms about to do it. We as a company promote the use of passive infrared technology, PIRs. There seems to be the UK requirement to, it's a classroom, it has to be a microwave product. We believe that's wrong. We believe a PI will do the job. You just need to make sure you've got the right product for the area. So in terms you've got the coverage, think about what the worst area is. Kids sitting still, okay. This product does a 7-meter coverage, okay. Make sure I have an overlap. Quite straightforward, but just making sure that once the classroom's done, lighting works as it's expected to. So I said here, seated activity. Seated activity is a bit misnomer, but we talk about here, this is 7 meters. Generally, kids moving their hands 20 centimetres, lights will know that. Yeah, keeps the lights on. I said earlier, we've got slaves, you can extend the areas. All these things are adjustable. Yeah, so we have in here, we have adjustable photocells. You can move them away from the windows, trying to keep that simple control. But generally we find, most classrooms are 7 by 7, 7 by 8 meters. One sensor would do the whole classroom. Also talking about plug and play. One thing is about, some of the conversation earlier today is about the complexity of products. The outcome might be complex. Some of the wiring in the background might be complex. But generally, trying to keep it as simple as possible. Trying to keep the settings straightforward and easy. Simply for us, generally with the products, it isn't a system integrator, it's an electrical contractor. It has to fit lots of products, and we find generally saying earlier that projects are generally behind time, trying to rush to get the commission done on site, trying to keep it simple. And also have it simple when the teacher's in the classroom, he or she knows how to control the lighting in that classroom. Also, sorry, excuse the word again, this is about defect, but maintenance. Big Germans, but maintenance. One of the things about systems is that lamps do fail, ballasts fail. It's having a product in the system that is easy to make those changes. It is very straightforward. Take out the ballast, pop a new one in, get the address, reset it. All from the app on the smartphone. So, benefits. Low investment cost, easier installing, and then also the key one is about energy costs being saved. Lowering those energy costs. And convenience. So, auto on, full automatic. Basically in terms of classroom, some people like it, so you come into the classroom, turn the switch on, semi-automatic. We go into classroom, sensor sees you, lights come automatically to the level you set them to. And also a key thing here is about adjustable. Yeah, teacher allowed to dim up, dim down as she wants to. Constant light control, so obviously during the day, more sunshine, more natural light, lights dim down to maintain a steady level. One of the research has been done as well as some of those having the lights playing around all the time. Bright, dark, trying to keep a very simple light control. Soft start. And I said earlier that in terms of us technologies, everything here on your phone. Yeah, from simple groupings to simple setting up to changing the parameters, all on smartphone. So the technology now with your smartphone going to in commissioning to do that control. And then again, some of the technologies now is a smartphone linking to Bluetooth switches. Makes it very simple. So, applications. We've done a lot of schools around the country. We just put here some examples. All have different requirements. Said earlier about visually impaired. So we have a school, Joseph Clark School, visually impaired kids. We had to make sure the light level was brighter. We had to then, basically for that, we had to change some of the software for the products, but giving people a solution for the classrooms they want. You find there's that uniformity of standard. Yeah, building schools, future programs, there's a standard. But when you come down to it, the teachers, the headmasters, the state guys, they all have a slightly different want or desire. And for us, the products is be able to do those changes quite straightforward.